And yes, we are live. Greetings to you all, greetings to all exporters from Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, and all the CE region. Today's Grow Digital's webinar is going to be about getting ready for 2021 invoicing rules for Hungary. Please allow me a short housekeeping until all the people who are invited will be present. We're about 70-ish people here, so already quite a big attendance. We will try to do our best in terms of housekeeping, although we had a few minutes of pause at the beginning, or latency at the beginning due to technical reasons, but we value your time, so we'll try to end by 3 p.m. Sharp. Q&A questions are going to be right after the presentation, but feel free to ask your questions on the right down corner of the Click Meeting session. Our people like Lilla and Balázs are going to answer them at the end of the session within the Q&A session. Hi René, hi Christian and Michal. The webinar will be recorded and sent to you afterwards, and an article regarding this whole topic is going to be published on export.growdigital.com. Please stay tuned. Let's mention the organizer and our supporters, without whom this couldn't have been done. I'm going to tell a few words afterwards about Grow Digital, but our supporters are the CE e-commerce mastermind group. It's a closed Facebook mastermind group, which you'll be welcome to join if you're an exporter and a C-level decision maker. Zásilkovňa or Zásilkovna or Csomagküldő, you might know from Hungary, Slovakia, or Czech Republic. They deal with delivering packages all across Central Eastern Europe. They're part of Paketa Group. Expandeco. These are the guys who deal with export and support many dozens of exporters with logistics, customer support, and content localization. RY Shopper is a Google comparison shopping partner, which gives you 20% discount on your shopping ads. And CE Digital Alliance is the ultimate alliance of independent agencies all across Central Eastern Europe. So thank you all for the support. Let me please, for those who may not know me, begin with a short introduction, why you should hear me out regarding this topic. This year, I'm Google Certified Trainer for Export in Czechia and Slovakia. And in the past 15 years of my professional life, I've been working on the axis of Budapest, Bratislava, Prague. And I've devoted myself to export. I've got more than 70 successful e-commerce export projects, or myself, or through Grow Digital. And Grow Digital is a digital marketing full-service agency that I've co-founded with my business partner, Christian, 8 years ago in Hungary. And basically, we build success stories in CE region. We can help you with localization of performance marketing, PPC, SEO, social media, content marketing, and email marketing. If there's one number to remember about Grow Digital, it's 84%. It's our clients' compound annual growth rate. So for the past 5 consecutive years, an average Grow Digital client has grown 84% year over year. Yes, these are just a few references of ours. We, as I just told you, we deal with bigger export clients or export clients with high growth potential. Like we've helped to localize Olza in Hungary. We worked with Mall.hu for like 5 years. Kifli is a special one, like a success story. Just recently, it's Rohlik's sister company in Hungary, and many more. So after this short introduction, let me please go to the interactive part and ask you a question. Yep, I would like to ask our moderator to pull in the question. Yes, the audience, please answer. There are 2 questions. First one is, in which country is your company located? Like where are your headquarters? Czechia, Slovakia, etc., etc. And the second question is whether you have operations in Hungary. Yes, no, but plan to have, or no, you just came by to see what's inside the webinar. Yep, we're going to wait a few more seconds. Yes, 42 of you of the 69 present people have voted. Most of them are from Slovakia, like 34. That's 49%. The second biggest country represented is Czechia, and then Hungary or other CE country. Thank you very much. And the second, sorry, just let's go back for the results. Yes, thank you. And the answers for the second question have been whether you have operations in Hungary, yes, or you plan to have, is the majority, which is great. Great to hear that. Thank you. Let me please show you today's agenda, or the three presenters. Ladies first, Lilla Németh is a director of tax services within RSM. RSM is one of the dominant market players on the Hungarian consulting community, and Lilla deals with basically tax services, and they have a new service since this year, or launched this year and last year, the so-called Digitax services, which one of the target group of Digitax services is e-commerce right away. So she's your woman to help you with this kind of thing throughout our webinar. Balázs Ángyán is our second guest speaker, who's going to speak first. Actually, he is CEO of Számlazz.hu, a Hungarian success story, really, within accounting. Just recently, when we started cooperating with Számlazz.hu, I can remember that 5 years ago they had like 50,000 clients, and now it's nearly 500,000. So both Számlazz.hu and Hungary's digitalization went through a skyrocketing trajectory, and Balázs has been a successful member and a part of that story. So Balázs is going to show you how Számlazz.hu works and what's his solution to this problem for exporters, or this challenge for the exporters. And I myself, I'm going to bore you for 2 more slides about CE e-commerce trends, because although this webinar is going to be about the retail invoicing reporting, which is an issue, and it's quite a bit of a challenge for the exporters. But we've got, most of you guys are from e-commerce sectors, and e-commerce sector has its high season. We're just after the week of the strongest week of Black Friday, and I brought you a few numbers you might be interested in. So the first one is the weekly Google Ads cost change, starting from first whole week of this year, like the benchmark being the first total week of January. And you can see the relative change this year, that basically after the first wave of Corona, Google Ads spend in V4 countries, you can see the 4 countries like Czechia, Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland with different colors, have grown. Thus, e-commerce sector reacting to the rising market demand. Afterwards, it has bit of a stagnated throughout the summer, and with the second wave combined with the high season, it just totally went through the ceiling and skyrocketed. So basically, in comparison with the second week of January, it's on 300%, meaning that it has tripled. An average e-commerce player has tripled its Google Ads cost, or its investment into online media, and it's based on 260 e-commerce players numbers, as you can see in the footnote. The second is market demand. Basically, this is for the whole period with the same method of benchmarking, the same period. You can see transactions and revenues aggregated for all the players. Bit of a same-ish curve here, but at the end you can see that it has nearly risen to more, or even has risen more to more than 500%. So 5 times more the revenue than it has been in January for last week. And even more important than in year-on-year figures, it's also 2.5 times more than the previous year. So it's not just the season itself. Yep, let's go back to our main topic, and I would like to give the word to Balázs as CEO of Számlázz.hu to briefly describe us what is this whole real-time invoicing reporting about, how he approaches it, who it may concern, and what are their workarounds for it. Balázs, the word is yours.
Okay, thank you, László. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to see how many of you are here today. Of course, it would have been much better to get together personally, but I'm still happy to meet you through internet today. Let's start first who we are. Számlazz.hu is the market leader online invoicing platform in Hungary. As László said, we started to work together 5 years ago, and we gained nearly 350,000 new customers these times. Since the start, we have issued more than 100 million invoices. The last few years, Számlázz became not only a pure invoicing platform, but an integrated ecosystem with interfaces to banks, stock management system, business administration applications, online payment integration, and online data connection with a number of accounting systems. As you see the logos in the bottom of the slide, not only micro businesses are connected to Számlázz, but some really big names are with us. And you may be a bit surprised why a pure invoicing service can be so popular among the companies, and why the big names are joining to an online invoicing platform. This because we usually say that the legal background of the invoicing may be the most complicated in Hungary within the whole European Union. Once I'm counted, and I found 17 different laws which are dealing with invoicing. My colleagues usually say that issue a fully compliant invoice in Hungary is only a bit more complicated than brain surgery. So that's why a pure invoicing service can be so popular, and that's why many companies need it. But let's go back to the real-time invoice reporting. The first step has been taken 1st of July in 2018, when those invoices had to be reported directly to the tax authority, where the VAT exceeded 100,000 Hungarian forint. You may think that the reason was this limitation, something like piloting by the tax authority, but I don't think so. I think that the main reason was reduce the tax avoiding and whitening the grey economy, and I think this was a quite successful step from the regulation body, because in the last 2.5 years, the ratio of grey economy in Hungary reduced from 27% to 21-22, which is a really big step, I think. This year, in July, we took the next step when all the B2B invoices had to be reported to tax authority. And the third and one of the final big steps will be next January, when not only the B2B but the B2C invoices also must be reported to tax authority. It's important to say that B2C invoices should not contain the name and address of the buyer, only the financial data and some other data of the invoice, but not the buyer personal data, of course. If you need more information about these special rules for reporting, invoice reporting to tax authority, you can find some useful links here. As far as I understood, the whole presentation will be distributed later, and when you receive this presentation, you can click on these links, and you will find some of these rules. Okay. There is a third question about what is your company's tax status right now. So please click if your company a Hungarian branch company with a Hungarian seat and Hungarian tax ID, or without a Hungarian seat but having a Hungarian VAT ID, or no seat and no Hungarian tax ID at all. Okay, let's see the answers. So, honestly, I was hoping a bit different distribution among the answers, because it would have been much easier to describe what to do, but I have some good news about that. Let's see the details. Can we back to the presentation, please? Okay, so let's deep dive into the rules. This matrix shows what are the main rules to reporting the invoices. If you are a foreign taxpayer without a Hungarian seat and without a Hungarian VAT number, you are in a very easy situation, no reporting to the Hungarian tax authority at all. If you have a Hungarian VAT number, but you are a foreign taxpayer, the situation is a bit more complicated, and you have to be very careful, because the products, invoices about products must be reported to the tax authority, but not the services. And there are some differences between invoicing to a private person and a legal entity. And if you have a Hungarian subsidiary with a Hungarian VAT number, then you have to report actually almost all invoice that you issue. There are only two exceptions in case of invoicing to a foreigner private person. There is a mini one-stop shop portal starting on 1st of January. As far as I know, Lilla will show it a bit more detailed. Okay. We had many many questions from foreigner companies. How the whole process can be simplified, and the first idea, most of them was to issue invoice with the existing ERP system and send the existing invoice to Számlázz for an authorization, and after that reporting to the tax authority by Számlázz. Unfortunately, there are some legal obstacles why this is. Okay, there is a question: what is ERP? In our terminology, ERP means the business software, all business software what you use for doing business, including the webshop itself. You're welcome. So there are some legal obstacles why this idea can't work. This is because the invoice must be reported by the issuing system, the invoicing system. This is the law. The most important unique ID is the invoice number, and there are very, very strict rules by law how to manage the invoice number. Its continuity and a lot of other rules that says how invoice number must be managed. And this means finally that invoice number must be given by the invoicing system. If your webshop system or your ERP system is capable to issue the invoice, that means in the same time that that system gives the invoice number, and we cannot forward any any invoices from our invoicing system to the tax authority that already has an invoice number. That's the obstacle, unfortunately. Instead of that, we provide a very simple solution, and that's why many big names are with us. So the first and the most simple solution, when your ERP system or web shop, after a purchase, generates all the data which is needed on the invoice, and that data is transferred to our system via XML API. And our system generates the whole invoice, which complies all the Hungarian legislation, generates a PDF file and an XML file, which can be sent back to your system, and your system can forward it to the end user, or we can do it that our system sends the invoice to the end user directly via either email as an e-invoice, electronic invoice, or in PDF. And in the same time, the invoice is immediately reported to the tax authority's system. Just a few words about this API solution, what we call agent. The whole agent documentation in English can be downloaded from our system, and this link in the middle can be used for that. The agent is a non-browser-based interface, communicates via XML messages between your system and the Szamlazz.hu system. And it's very important that very easy to use and very fast to develop. Actually, only in a few days can be developed, and we have a lot of implementation with big companies. The typical implementation right now that either Hungarian web shops or foreigner web shops can connect to our system via this API. It also works when your mother company and the whole development and IT support of your web shop or ERP system is done by your mother company in a foreigner country. So we can support you, and actually we can call it a self-servicing API, because it's a very rare case when our support and our development team has to do anything with a connection, because you can do it without any complication. There are some special cases for invoicing that also can generate an extra revenue stream to you as well. The first picture shows a traditional invoicing flow when your buyer purchases something from you, pays for it to you, and your system, either via Számlázz.hu or directly from your ERP, sends the invoice to the customer. The second is called self-invoicing solution. This is very useful when you have a lot of different suppliers, and these suppliers send to you a lot of invoices per month, and even if they make mistakes with the invoicing, you can simplify the whole process if you issue the invoice from him to yourself in the name of your supplier. There are a lot of big companies where the procurement department is struggling of the faulty and not accurate supplier invoices. And the third case, what we call third-party invoicing, it's a very special solution which is fully legal, meaning that your reseller sells the product or service to the end customer, but you as a third party issue the invoice to the end customer. It is typically used by taxi companies or food delivery companies or courier companies where a lot of subcontractors, for example, drivers, are in the business, and in the name of the drivers or couriers, you can issue the invoice directly to the end user. When you use the second or third solution, self-invoicing and third-party invoicing, then we charge all the fees like API fee or transaction fee only once to you, and you can charge it to your partner, to your supplier, or to your reseller, generating more extra revenue to yourself. And of course, in the same time, you can save some money to your partners as well. Okay. If you need more information about these two special cases, you can find more info on our webpage as well. So please look at for more information there. Okay, and there are some special solutions that make your business administration a lot easier, far more easier than maybe today is. One is the incoming invoice management. On Számlázz, you can see not only the outgoing but the incoming issues independently. If the incoming invoice was issued by Számlázz or by another invoicing system, because our software can download all your incoming invoices directly from the tax authority. Since this reporting system to tax authority is alive, and even from 1st of July this year, when all B2B invoices are reported to the tax authority, all the invoices, all your incoming invoices are available at tax authority's system, and we download it into your invoicing account. We have direct connection some of the Hungarian banks. Not all with that, but we are planning to extend this service. There is a regulation, a European-wide regulation called PSD2 that declares that all the banks have to open their system via an API for some special players on the market, and we have that license called AISP, Account Information Service Provision, meaning that we can connect directly to the banks via API, and we can download your banking transaction history from your bank account, and we can do the reconciliation of the incoming and incoming bank transfers to the pro forma invoices or invoices you issued, saving a huge amount of time to your financial administration team or to your accounting team. Once we did the reconciliation, we can automatically upload this information to the accounting softwares. And we have a special solution to automate the whole invoicing process based on payment, meaning that in first step, when you receive a purchase order from your customer, we can automatically issue the pro forma invoice. And if your buyer will pay with by bank transfer, we download from your bank the information when that pro forma invoice was paid, when the money is received on your bank account. And we do parallelly two things. One thing is we automatically issue the invoice and send it to your buyer. And on the other hand, we do the reconciliation and send this information to your accounting system. This is the whole process without a touch, a human touch. Okay, and what is the future? Next year, we will connect more banks to this banking information system once the API of the banks will be available and will work. Now they have some difficulties with that, and we will introduce a nice and very useful new service. When you issue the invoice, you immediately put a payment request and send this payment request immediately to your buyer, meaning that all the data which is needed for your buyer to do the bank transfer is put automatically on his bank account, and the buyer has nothing to do with it, just with one click approve that bank transfer that you have generated together with the invoice. And from next year, we are planning to introduce a special division for you to provide extended technical and business support for the larger companies and for the foreigner web shops and companies. Okay, so this was shortly what I plan to say. Lilla, the stage is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Balázs. In the meantime, while Lilla gets herself unmuted, we've got a lot of questions. We're going to answer, Balázs and Lilla is going to answer them at the very end. So Lilla, if you can, I can politely ask you to fit into maybe 15 minutes so that we have enough space for questions. That would be just great. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Okay, definitely. Thank you very much, László and Balázs, and thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar. I know that all you attendees are in a very difficult situation because the Hungarian government and the Hungarian tax authority is creating new regulation, and as Balázs has mentioned, it's not so easy to issue a very so a 100% compliant Hungarian sales invoice. And in this case, you are a foreign company. However, you have a Hungarian tax ID number because of your e-commerce business or for whatever other reason. You have to comply with the Hungarian regulations. So there was a question in the chat field why you have to comply with the Hungarian real-time invoice reporting rules. This is because if you have a Hungarian tax ID number, then you have to comply with these rules, and these are not so easy. But why I am here and why we have been invited, I'm a tax advisor and a tax director at RSM Hungary, and we were founded almost 20 years ago now. We have big clients, and we have developed, besides the tax advisory and the accounting part, we have developed the digital tax part as well. We are working together with the IT developers, and we have developed some softwares, which first we have used in-house, and now it's also available for our clients. I think you might be familiar with EMAG, Extreme Digital. They are one of the market leaders of the e-commerce sector in Hungary. So this is why their logo is on my presentation. But let's move to the most exciting part. So why we are here, and what is the reason why the Hungarian Tax Authority is moving more deeply into the digitalization. They have already started it back in 2006 when they started to accept the VAT returns and the tax returns only via the electronic way. And now they will also receive all the invoices. So not only the tax returns will be sent to the Hungarian Tax Authority in an electronic format, but already they are receiving all the B2B Hungarian invoices between the Hungarian companies. So they already see these, and their aim is to see all the transactions and all the invoices that are between, so issued from Hungarian companies. And by the Hungarian companies, I mean also the foreign companies who have a Hungarian VAT number. So it's very important that these legislations are not only relevant for the Hungarian seated companies, but also to the foreign companies, for example, for your company, if you have a Hungarian tax ID number. And it's very important that the Hungarian online invoice reporting is in the picture since more than 2 years now. And as we see it, and as we have discussions with the tax authority, it's not an easy task even for the Hungarian seated companies to comply with this regulation. But don't be afraid, because there are some solutions whereby it's very easy to comply with these regulations. And why we are here on this webinar, because the e-commerce sector will be also involved in this Hungarian online invoice reporting, as the B2C invoices will be subject to the online reporting from 1st of January next year. It's a very tricky thing that, as Balázs has also mentioned, you have to issue your invoices to the customer, to the Hungarian customer, and you have to include the personal data of the customer on the invoice. So let's say the name and address of the customer. However, when you are required to report this invoice to the Hungarian Tax Authority, you are not able to include the personal data of the customer to the Hungarian Tax Authority. So there will be a slight difference in the invoice that you are issuing and in the XML file that you are sending to the Hungarian Tax Authority. Yes, this regulation is valid from the first working day, and that will be the 4th of January next year. So not the 1st, but the 4th. And invoices has to be reported to the Hungarian Tax Authority online, automatically, without any human intervention. So it's not possible that you are just logging into the platform and you are just typing in the details of your invoice, only if you are issuing paper invoices. But I think that the e-commerce sector is not working with paper invoices, most likely with electronic invoices. And what is more important is that you have to send this data, so the invoice itself, to the Hungarian Tax Authority in an XML format. Don't be afraid. This is very similar to the invoice itself. And nowadays, I think more and more tax people and financial people get to know this XML format. But what is it? Let's have a look at a short sample. So at the left sector, you can see that there is a supplier name, a tax number, postal code, address details. So this is what is included on an invoice. And how this is managed in an XML file is in the right side. So an XML is only a definition, how you look at the details and how you categorize the details. You will see there also that the supplier name and also the text numbers and the addresses are also indicated. So an XML file is not a totally new, so it's only a format of the invoice that the tax authority would like to receive from the taxpayers, and they are predefining this XML format. So every and each company who sends the invoices towards the Hungarian tax authority must use this format, this XML format. And what is the reason why it's a very tricky thing, as I have mentioned, is because from January, all the e-commerce sectors who already have or plan to have Hungarian customers and have Hungarian tax number will be subject to the Hungarian online reporting rules. However, from July next year, if your company will be using the one-stop shop system, which I think you might be familiar with, and surely as you are an e-commerce company, it means that you will be filing your tax returns in your own country and not in every and each EU country where you have the customers. Then you will be not required. So you won't be required to comply with the Hungarian online reporting rules. But it's very important that it's only for the companies who will be using the one-stop shop system. And still, there is 6 months from January to June when the Hungarian tax authority's obligation of the online reporting is still applicable. Might be applicable for your company. Due to the COVID situation and due to the fast development and the Hungarian government, they have allowed a 3-month period of moratorium when they will not levy any penalty if you do not comply with the regulations of this online invoice reporting. So there is a 3-month period from January till March, which can be used for developing and for searching for the appropriate solution, how you will be able to comply with the Hungarian regulations. However, from April next year, the tax authority will be strictly monitoring the companies who have the Hungarian tax ID number and whether they comply with the rules or not. How can you deal with this? You can either develop your current invoicing software, your current ERP system. It can be also a foreign ERP system as well. So you either develop your own ERP system, or you will be searching for a company who can assist you with either with an intermediary service or even with taking over your invoicing, as Balázs has mentioned formerly. How can we help you, RSM Hungary? Usually we are working with many foreign clients, and the first thing we assist them and how we work together with them is we are teaching them and we are advising them how a proper compliant XML file should look like, because the Hungarian tax authority would like to receive that one. This solution that now I'm talking about is relevant for you if you would like to maintain your own ERP system, your own foreign invoicing system, and you don't want to buy a Hungarian one. So if you are insisting on maintaining your own foreign ERP system, then it's possible that you are creating the proper XML that the Hungarian tax authority is awaiting from you, and then you are dropping it up to a software which will forward it to the Hungarian tax authority. This is how our solution works. With the green color, you can see your ERP system, and you have to issue the final sales invoice, and you have to create the final XML. Then in the blue color, you can see here the cloud-based invoice solution software, which will receive the invoice from you, the XML file, and then it will transfer it in the right way towards the Hungarian tax authority, and will also receive the feedbacks and the messages back from the Hungarian tax authority. This is how it works. For this one, you can still use your own ERP system, and there is only a need to develop the correct XML file in the system. Yes, I have already mentioned these, that the invoice data, the ERP data comes from your system. The software does the communication with the tax authority, and you can follow these feedbacks and the invoices on the website. We also have other digital tax solutions, so if somebody will be interested, then just please drop me an email. So thank you very much for your time and the attention. I think that the Q&A session comes here.
Yes, thank you, Balázs, thank you, Lilla. Maybe just to wrap up or to sum up the difference between the two solutions. Számlazz.hu's solution is, as Balázs said, is more like a self-service solution. So Szamlazz.hu does all the work and has connectors, but it's on your part to connect to Szamlazz.hu. And RSM solution is a more like a tailored solution, which helps you with creating the XMLs as an intermediary person and builds this connector on behalf to the Hungarian tax authority. So that's maybe the difference between the two solutions. Both ways are viable. There was a question here that whether it's from Tomáš, whether we can learn how to send XML data directly to Hungarian tax authority. Yes, you can, but I wouldn't advise that to start reinventing the wheel if there are some players who basically live out of doing this already. Yes, and we can go to the question and answers. Thank you. Already Tomáš has joined, who is Hungarian country manager for ShopTet, who just said, sorry, for the few questions that ShopTet will develop by mid-February its connector, Doppelneck in Czech Republic, to Számlázz.hu, who will deal with all of this. Yep. From Vladimir, there's a question, when we don't have Hungarian VAT number or Hungarian company, we don't need to report anything, right?
Yes, that's right. But it has to be investigated whether you would be obliged to have a Hungarian tax ID number. So it's important that there are cases from tax point of view when you are obliged to register for Hungarian VAT. It's not so easy.
What's that limit, Lilla? If you simplify, maybe.
Yes, there is a limit, 35,000 euros currently for Hungary. So if you are selling to Hungarian customers, and if you exceed this threshold, this limit, then your company would be obliged to register in Hungary for VAT, because above this limit, the Hungarian tax authority would like to receive the related VAT. Of course, the 27% VAT is the highest in the EU, so this is why the Hungarian tax authority is really keen on receiving this amount. And yes, this is a total amount, so it's cumulated for a given year. And this will be 10,000 euros from when the one-stop shop will be ready.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oops, sorry. Regarding the questions from Michal, this is out of the box question. Thinking as a businessman, Lilla, what is the penalty if we decide not to connect and we wait for the one-stop shop, which will start working in the summer? So maybe covering those 3 months period.
Yes, it's a very good question because the penalty is the risk actually, and yes, there will be a 3 months period when there is the possibility that the Hungarian tax authority would be able to levy penalty before the one-stop shop starts. The penalty currently is nominated in it's 500,000 Hungarian forints, which is with an estimation, this is 1,300 euros basically per invoice. So it's very important that this penalty is not a one-off penalty, but it can be calculated on an invoice level basis. However, to be honest, practically we have not seen such penalty from the Hungarian tax authority yet. But of course, we do not know what they will do if somebody is not reporting these invoices to the tax authority. Their aim is to create the Hungarian VAT returns from these online reporting issues. So the reason for penalty is that they would like to receive the invoice, they would like to see the invoice, and from this one they can calculate the payable VAT that they would like to receive from this company. So this is the logic behind.
Yep, thank you. Maybe, yes, a few Szamlazz.hu related questions from Roland. When will Szamlazz.hu have an English interface?
Actually, we don't really want to do that. There are more than 20 languages in which invoices can be issued, but the user interface will remain Hungarian for a while. The soonest time when English user interface will be available is next summer. This is the reason behind that. The far majority of our users are Hungarian, and those ones who use those foreigner companies who use Számlázz, they use it via the API, and the API documentation and the API language itself is English already.
Yes, this is Michal's question, whether you're planning to translate API description to English, but you have already sent it in the chat, the link docs.
Yeah, in the chat there is a link, and that's a bilingual documentation, both in Hungarian and in English.
Yep, thank you. Next question from David. When is the latest day of 2021 when it should be implemented without having any stress of any file? So if David wants to sleep calmly, when should he implement it?
Yes, if we are talking about the online invoice reporting, and there will be a penalty-free period from January till end of March. So the latest day when it should be implemented is the 31st of March. So the last day of March. If you implement it on the last day of March, then you will be ready from the 1st of April.
Or, I'm sorry, or the last day before you issue the first invoice that must be reported to the tax authority.
Yes, yes. So if you start business only in May, then of course the day one before you are still able to comply with this regulation.
Okay, thank you. Yes, question from Tomasz. He's a very active asking person. You'll get the prize for the most questions asked, Tomasz, afterwards. In general, is there any possibility to communicate with Hungarian tax authority in English?
It's a good question, and usually comes from all the foreign companies who we work together. The online invoice reporting portal of the Hungarian tax authority, and also the documentation, how they assist the companies with these XML generations and with the sending these documents to sending the invoices to the tax office, is available in English. So and now for when they have changed the scheme, the XML scheme to 3.0, they already published the change log, whereby the IT developers can easily dive into the details and they can focus on the changes that have to be done. So they are trying to communicate in English as well, but as a formal way, you are not able to communicate with them in English.
Okay, thank you, Lilla. A question from Josef. If Slovakian company has Hungarian VAT number from July 2021, the one-stop shop where it starts, then whether it does not need to send the invoice to Hungarian tax authority. I think this was just answered, that you have an obligation for 3 months to do so. And then if you wish to remain in the white zone and sleep calmly, and it's your business decision how you decide, basically.
Yes.
Yep. Roland, can I contact you, Lilla, on LinkedIn or maybe email in order to ask a price quotation for a legal audit?
Yes, of course.
Yes, Lilla, I would encourage you to maybe link your LinkedIn profile to the chat so that all the people interested can do so. Okay, I will do so. Roland says he'll find you, but maybe for the others. Yes, maybe my email address is much easier. Yep. Peter is asking, how can the Hungarian tax authority see if you pass the minimum threshold to be required to register for Hungarian VAT? Sorry, how can Hungarian tax authority see if you? Yeah, this is to stay out or in from the white zone. There is a strong communication between the EU tax authorities. So usually they are exchanging the details that they have from any of the companies. So if they are exchanging and if they are seeing that there is a threshold that you have exceeded on this current year, then the Slovakian or the Czech tax authority is able to let the Hungarian tax authority know. We don't know how many times they are exchanging this kind of information, but it can happen. Yes, maybe I would just add a personal story. I work a lot on, as I just told you, on the Budapest-Bratislava-Prague axis. And recently the systems or the interconnection gets better and better because I receive speeding tickets from Hungary and Czech Republic also. So and here is a lot higher motivation of the states of interconnecting these systems than, let's say, speeding and the police systems. Yeah. Yep. Michal is asking, is there any contact person in Számlázz who is English speaker or enough to call regular hotline number in any case we need any assistance?
We recommend using email. There are English-speaking colleagues in the customer services department. We don't have a hotline. Maybe there will be later for the extended technical and business support department, but not yet. But we are answering a very short period of time within only a few hours. So my suggestion is using the info.Szamlazz.hu. Yep. info@Szamlazz.hu. Yeah.
Yes, and because our time is up and we value every person's time here, maybe a space for last question. Dushan is asking, please define one-stop shop concepts so I fully understand. Maybe just to go ahead in a bit, it would be for a separate webinar, I guess, I mean, this whole topic. But if you can wrap it up just quickly, Lilla, maybe the concept of the one-stop shop on EU level.
Yes. So this is related to the e-commerce sector when you are selling to private individuals, mostly from one EU country to another. Currently, if you are exceeding the thresholds in any of these countries, EU countries, you have to be VAT registered in every single country to which you are selling to these private individuals. And the EU has developed this one-stop shop concept, which means that you will not be obliged to register in every single EU country for these private individual sales, but you will be able to do these reportings within your own country. So you will be required to register on the one-stop shop, which will be available in your own country, and you will be able to fulfill the tax requirements within your country to your country's tax authority. And let's say the Slovakian tax authority will receive this kind of tax report from you that you are selling to 10 EU countries. And then the Slovakian tax authority will communicate with these 10 EU countries' tax authority and also will let them know about these sales, and also will transfer the relevant 10 EU countries VAT towards these tax authorities. So it's much easier for all e-commerce companies.
So it's that simple. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all of you for your attention, and especially Lilla and Balázs. I think that we can be really proud that we've had real big guns in terms of tax advisory and accounting here on today's webinar. As you know, this was part of our Grow Digital Export webinar series. We started out in August. This one is the second, and in next year there are many more to come. Be sure to tick in where you registered that you want to receive more invites. There are going to be some very interesting dialogues with people from e-commerce industry sharing their success stories from Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary, starting with fresh blood Q1 next year. You can see right up there the click here button. You can find more info about exporting into CE. It's V1 version, a beta version of the site. The recording of this webinar is going to go up there, as well as an article in English with all the links and all the details that are going to be mentioned. So it's going to be super helpful. Please, if you have any other friends, FFF, they say friends, family, fools, or other exporters to whom it may be interesting, this topic, because it's really a hot topic, and there's a lot of not knowing, or people or the market players do not know about this real-time invoicing in Hungary. Please help us to share the news and evangelize this topic. So I encourage you to click there, subscribe, and once more, thank you for your attention. We'll end the webinar, and one last thing, there's going to be a rating from 1 to 5. Please do rate the webinar. It's we're eager to receive feedback from you, how you perceived it. So thank you very much, and have a nice time, all of you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.